You are Locked On Trojans Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Los Angeles on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Well, hello and welcome to the Locked On USC Trojans Postcast on the Locked On Trojans YouTube channel. I am Pete Fox, covering sports in LA dating back to 2007 for ESPN LA and NBC Sports Radio. Tonight's episode of the Locked On Trojans Postcast is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet $5, and if that bet is a winner chicken dinner, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Download the app today. Well, not officially over just yet, but pretty freaking close. Seconds to go. The Trojans are in command, and they are going to win this one 29-10 unless they decide, for some crazy unknown reason, to rub it in a little bit more and score one more time. I doubt that will be the case. They're just going to burn up the clock and get out of here. An interesting game for the Trojans. Ugly first half. After that first drive that took up like 7 minutes, King Miller running the ball like crazy, then didn't do anything for the rest of the first half. Had one or two more yards after the 39 yards on that opening drive where he scored a touchdown. And UCLA woke up, came to play, stopped the run, started running the ball. They were like playing this game like they were good. And that's what happens in rivalry games. It is now officially final, 29-10. UCLA, their first loss of the year when leading at the break. They were up 10-7, and it's the first home team in the rivalry to win in 5 years or something like that. So that's pretty interesting and cool. But back-to-back wins for the Trojans now, because obviously last year was at the Rose Bowl and USC won that one as well. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff in this game as a USC fan where you can go, that was good. And a lot of it really wasn't good. There was some ugly stuff there, but in the end, they do get the win, and that's, I guess, the most important thing.
This is what you'll be talking about.
Trojans finished the season with 9 wins on a winning note. They'll obviously go to some, mid-level bowl game. I was thinking, how cool would it be if they face off against Texas? I don't think Texas is going to get to the playoff with 3 losses as well. They might. I wouldn't be surprised, but that would be a heck of a bowl game. 2 3-loss teams in USC and Texas, both top 20 teams. That would be worth tuning in for, because nowadays with this playoff, which is something we all wanted, I think, if your team is not in the playoff, you're really kind of disinterested unless you're like, just alum, hardcore fan. You go to all the games, you pay, hardcore attention like you guys do. But, for the casual USC college football fan, unless it's a really solid matchup and they've got nothing else to do, then I would assume, they'll probably just check in. I don't know that it's a hunker down and must watch. But yeah, where is Texas? Yeah, Texas is 16, USC 17. So, that would be a heck of a matchup, I think, for the bowl game. But we'll see. But as for today, I know they win and they win comfortably. But I think you take away from stuff from this game and you say they have to be better. I mean, the difference in this game was that UCLA is just not a good team. They played good at times in the second quarter, part of the third quarter early on, but in the end, they're just not a good team. And honestly, they fell apart in one specific point in the game. And I'll tell you where that happened for them, where things went south for them quick, fast, and in a hurry.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
It was early in the fourth. UCLA was moving the ball. There was, prior to this series, there was 2 series that both UCLA and USC went 3 and out. So UCLA got the ball to start the second half. They went 3 and out. The Trojans then got the ball from them, and when the Bruins forced them 3 and out. So that was a nice hold from them. But the next series, they had 2 very crucial drops. And from there, they fell apart. They started making penalties. They had the next drive where USC scored. The Bruins were just a mess. And they had been really, really clean penalty-wise prior to that. They had, I think, 1 penalty, and it wasn't until the second half. So it felt like the pressure was just getting to them. The crowd, obviously a partisan Trojan crowd at the Coliseum. There were some UCLA people there, of course, as always. But the penalties got to them. 6 of 49 in the end, so it wasn't terrible. But all of those coming in the second half. The Trojans 3 of 30. So a nice day for them after an awful day last week against the Oregon Ducks. Third downs, 6 of 9 for USC, 5 of 12 for the Bruins. Bruins went for it on fourth down twice, came up empty both times, and they were 0 for 5 last week and 0 for 5 the week before that. So that makes them 0 for their last 12 on fourth down. Time of possession, pretty even, 26-33 in favor of the Bruins. Total yards, also pretty commensurate, 388 for USC, 308 for UCLA, and no turnovers, although the Bruins got closer to the turnover than the Trojans did. They had an interception. It was wiped out by 2 penalties, one of them being pass interference, the other one being roughing the passer. So either way, it was not going to be a interception. But it was a point where, UCLA fans right then were just like, are you kidding me? Because they were moving the ball and, they kind of had USC on their heels again. But penalty got the best of them right there in USC because it came right after Makai Lemon had a 35-yard punt return. So he started that series with a really nice punt return, got him to the 45-yard line, and then the next play, seemingly a UCLA interception overturned by penalty. So that definitely hurt the Bruins as far as their momentum rolling through this game as they were trying to get back into it in the second half. As for the USC offense, you have to give the UCLA defense credit for shutting Makai Lemon down dramatically. He did score a touchdown. He did play much better in the second half, but he had 0 catches in the first half.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
From an offensive perspective, without a doubt, it's King Miller. 17 carries, 124 yards, and 2 touchdowns. But honorable mention, or a defensive player of the game, Jayden Maiava. A sack and a half. He was getting after the quarterback. And again, that was something, one of the great things about this USC team that Lincoln Riley has fostered this season. He has them ready for the second half. They come out with a different sense of desire and want to and fight. When they're down or not playing great in the first half, whatever he says to them to rile them up and get them motivated for the second half has been working. Let's hope that continues into next year because they're a tough team in the second half. This is obviously a much better, encouraging season for this team. You look back and you say, damn, they should have beat Illinois. If they beat Illinois, it's a whole different thing. They got their head kicked in by Notre Dame and Oregon. But let's hope that they take away something positive from those games and feel like they learned something and grew as a team. But the defense just has to get better. The offense has to be a little bit more balanced. Number 1, total passing yards. Number 1, total yards. So in the Pac-12, in the Big Ten. So they obviously have the ability to stretch the field. We know that. And that's not changing, I don't think. I don't know. We don't know what Makai Lemon and Jacoby Lane are going to do. Hopefully at least one of them is back next year, but I haven't paid a whole lot of attention to the hype around them heading to the NFL. But those two guys, Tunick Hines is going nowhere. He is the real deal as well. They can throw the ball. Now, is Maiava leaving? Again, that's a whole nother podcast, and you should probably check in with Marc Culkin on the daily USC Trojans podcast. He'll have more information about that. We're here to break the game down and not talk about the future so much. But when you look forward, when you look ahead, coming off of what they did, down the stretch of this regular season, there was a lot of good things. There was a lot of excitement. They had their chances, but in the end, they couldn't stop the run enough. And at times tonight, we were starting to see that a little bit in the first half where, they couldn't stop Berger or Woods. In the end, they did. Berger ran for 57. Woods ran for 28. Decent nights, but that is a nice job of slowing down the UCLA running game after what they did in the first half when they were cranking off big chunks against USC's defense and they couldn't stop it. And that was like, here we go again. Are they going to let UCLA run all over them and let the demons of the rivalry game rear their ugly heads? Because obviously USC came in as I saw 20.5 point favorite. So some said 3 touchdowns, whatever. That's a huge favorite for USC to be. And to have UCLA be in this game at all was frustrating. A couple of things I saw that were really driving me crazy early in the third quarter that fortunately got corrected. I'll bring up after the break. It's the Locked On USC Trojans podcast on the Locked On Trojans YouTube channel, where again, you can find Marc Culkin Monday through Friday with the Locked On Trojans daily podcasts. Today's episode of the Locked On Trojans postcast, a 29-10 win over the UCLA Bruins, is brought to you by Omaha Steaks. The holiday always feels a little easier when you already know the perfect gift, and Omaha Steaks makes it almost too simple. Whether you're treating yourself this season, sending something memorable to family and friends, Omaha Steaks delivers handcrafted perfection right to your door. And this week is the best time to jump in because their cyber sale is here and the deals are huge. The quality is exactly what you would hope for. Incredibly tender steaks, rich flavor, and meals that make hosting or weeknight cooking even easier. Save big on unforgettable gifts with Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com for 50% off site-wide, an extra 20% off select favorites during their cyber sale. And for an additional $35 off, use the promo code COLLEGE at checkout. That's omahasteaks.com. Promo code COLLEGE. Terms apply. See site for details. Tonight's episode also brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the National Basketball Association. Even if you missed the start of the game or want to get in on someone's hot hand and ride their hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bet into a same game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. But be careful with those parlays. You hit one, you think you got it figured out, and it's easy. It's not as easy as it looks, but it is a lot of fun because hitting one makes you feel invincible. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making a late push. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Trojans with the big second half and come back and get it done, winning this game comfortably 29-10 over the UCLA Bruins, who finished the season 3-9. They went on a nice little 3-game streak there, and everyone thought that they were turning things around after firing their coach, and then it all fell apart, which again was part of what I was frustrated about watching this game. It felt like Lincoln Riley was just kind of handing it over to them. Again, they went 3 and out on their first drive of the second half. And I felt like the play calling during that period of time was just too conservative, just dive right, dive left, nothing fancy. And Lincoln Riley is known for his intuitive, clever play calling, and we didn't see any of that. And then he would do these conservative little things, and then he would try to bust off a 50 yarder and going deep, and got too aggressive. And I'm like, just get the ball to Makai Lemon. Just get it in his hands. Get it in Jacoby Lane's hands, right? Slant pattern, swing pass, screen pass, bubble screen, something. You get it in those guys' hands and let them do their thing. Well, shortly thereafter, touchdown to Makai Lemon for 32 yards. It was not, easy, but it looked easy. Maiava hanging in the pocket, has the pocket is collapsing on him, around him, but he's hanging in there, standing tall, like he's done a lot this year. And to me, that has been very impressive. Checking down, reading the defense, looking for his guys, hanging in there as long as he humanly can. And then he just dropped it right in Makai Lemon's breadbasket. I mean, a perfect pass. The coverage wasn't terrible, although they did have pass interference, but that was about at the 5-yard line before he got into the end zone. But the coverage, I thought, was okay. And it was just a perfect pass, perfect play. So after that, things started to look a little bit easier. The confidence started to come back, and it felt like the Trojans were, thumping their chest a little bit against an inferior team. Michael Brown says, this felt like a Helton-like win. I'll take it, but it wasn't a good win. We're very far away from being a serious contender for anything that matters. I don't agree with that at all, Michael. Look, answer this question for me. How much closer are they this year than last year? Dramatically. Again, they played Big Ten-like football this year. Yes, they lost to the Illini, and that was a game they should have won. That was probably a stumble, a fumble from the coaching staff. I don't know if it's specifically on Clay Helton or whatever, but the clock management down the stretch of that game was not good. And ultimately, they got walked off on a field goal. So that was a game they could have won, probably should have won. The Notre Dame game was ugly. The Oregon game was ugly. Yes, they're not in that class just yet, but they're better than they were last year, and they played considerably tougher football. And I think that is the biggest thing we take away from this season. The offense was fantastic. It was fun. It was a great season. And there was hope, right? Like they say in Ted Lasso, it's the hope that kills you. This team had hope. They were close to getting to that playoff, right? Close. I know close is only good in horseshoes and hand grenades. But the fact is that they played tougher Big Ten-like football. They gained weight, literal weight on the line, offensive and defensive. The players were heavier. They were more tough. And that's something they gained like 800 pounds. They threw out a stat last week against Oregon as to how many pounds the strength and conditioning coach put on this team, like 800 pounds. That's a lot. And that's what they need. Somebody else brought up something today on the pregame that I thought was interesting. One of the things this Trojan team needs, they need just better, more experienced, tougher talent in the trenches. They need guys on both lines to get drafted or be guys that in the first or second round of the draft, they're being talked about. And that's something that we haven't seen from the Trojans in a while. And it's a fair point. So they need some of those dudes in the trenches to just get better, gain more attention, be more dominant. And that's going to help this team. And I think that guys like Abasiri are going to improve this team in the trenches. That's where games are won and lost. Yes, got to play offense, got to pass the ball, got to run the ball, all of that stuff. But in the end, got to sack the quarterback, and you got to protect your quarterback. So, as this line improves, as this defense improves, they're going to get better. They're going to lose some people, though, like Gentry. He's a senior. He's going to the league. So we won't see Eric Gentry next year for sure. But again, we're not here to talk about who's going to be on the team next year. That's Marc Culkin's job. We're here to break down this game, which, again, it wasn't flashy. It was a very nice second half. It was probably a fun game to be at after looking, you want a little bit of fight. I wouldn't have been fun if they would have just pushed him over and dominated him from Jump Street. Yeah, there were some frustrating things early on. But it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And they finished strong. So 127 yards for King Miller is fantastic. So the future is bright in the backfield. And Jacoby Lane, 3 for 52. King Miller, 4 for 42, catching the ball. Makai Lemon only had the one reception for a 32-yard touchdown. That's amazing. But he had the punt return. That was nice. Chinook Hines, 3 for 31. I thought Lake McCree and Walker Lyons both were fantastic. When UCLA's defense was shutting down Lemon and Lane, Walker Lyons and Lake McCree were making big catches that this team needed, and Lake McCree had a big touchdown late in the fourth quarter. He finished 3 for 30 with the one touchdown. Walker Lyons was 3 for 22. So that will wrap up this one and the regular season. We will now wait and see about the bowl game. As I said, I'm hoping it's USC and Texas. That would be fantastic. A little revenge from the Rose Bowl. I don't even know what year that was. It feels like 30 years ago. But that's yet to be determined. So 29-10, the final today. Jayden Maiava, 21 of 29 for 257 and 2 touchdowns. So he finishes a fantastic season, I think. And that's primarily because I had zero faith in him coming into this season. I thought he was a guy that made tough passes and missed the easy ones. This year he did both. And honestly, to me, played fantastic. Over 3,000 yards, 21 touchdowns. A little high in the interception category with 8, but his QBR at 91.4, first in the Big Ten. So a fantastic season for him. He's a junior, could come back if he wanted to, but might ride the hot hand and head off to the NFL draft. We'll have to wait and see. It's the Locked On USC Trojans postcast on the Locked On USC YouTube channel. I am Pete Fox. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We'll talk again after the bowl game and tomorrow after the Chargers take on the Raiders. Thanks for watching and thanks for listening. I appreciate the comments. You guys take care. Have a good night. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.